So I graduated from Western Governors University with a bachelor's degree in business administration and marketing. Is it worth it for the expense? Yes, absolutely. I can highly recommend WGU. WGU is definitely for a certain subset of students. It's not for an 18-year-old recently graduating high school. It is for working adults, people who already have experience in their field, people who have a busy working schedule and they need flexibility, or they live a long distance away from a college campus to where it's impractical to make a daily commute for an education. So what is the WGU experience? It is a competency-based approach where you are self-paced. Technically, you can get a 4-year degree done in 6 months if you're ambitious enough. My experience was that I started off hitting the ground running. From an advisor standpoint, you have a program mentor. This is someone who basically checks in with you every week to make sure you're doing okay, to make sure you're keeping pace with your assignments. They don't provide you, well, they do provide you general instruction on if you're having difficulty. They can help you unlock extra courses if you want to do extra for the semester. If you're having trouble, they can reach out to you and to the course instructor for you to get help. So they are a good resource, and you can set as many appointments with them as you want a week. And they are fairly hands-off if you do want to just progress at your own pace. I went through 4 different program mentors. The first one didn't want to let me accelerate fast enough. This is a very seamless process. There's just a head office you call, and they'll work everything out. You tell them what you want in terms of an advisor, and they'll set you up with someone who they think is a good fit. 2 of my advisors were fired. I guess there was at that time period a heavy staff turnover, which is a shame because I actually like those advisors. And my final advisor, who I got to stick with for about a year, was a very nice woman, and we had a good relationship. So the other point of contact is going to be your course instructor. Usually they're going to reach out by email. If you're a little bit slow completing the course, they're going to reach out to you, say, hey, do you need help with this? How are you progressing? One of the problems some people might have if they don't know the material well is the course instructors have a lot of students. So if you have a particular issue with understanding something, there aren't a lot of resources to resolve that. The course instructor is just going to point you to some area of the text for you to review if you don't understand something. They can't take hours to explain something. And it really isn't going to be as good as in person anyway. I want to talk a little bit about the cost of WGU as well. It is very affordable. If you qualify for a full Pell Grant, then you probably pay nothing, or you're paying a couple $100s a semester. And when you factor in the tax credits, you are probably going to make out to the positive, actually, and you're getting an education. I know I did very well in my taxes from credits and deductions and such. Let's talk a little bit about the difficulty of the courses. I found the courses to be sufficiently challenging. They certainly weren't pushover courses. I passed every single course the first time. You get 3 chances to pass them. You can take more than a third, but I think they charge you like $50 or $100 or something to take it like a 4th time. Probably some of the accounting courses. The accounting course was maybe a little more difficult. I can't really remember. It's been a couple years, but it's the kind of thing where if you put the time in, you're not going to have a hard time passing the assignment. It's really not an issue of how smart you are. It's about putting consistent time in and making sure you're adequately prepared for the exam. Each course usually has 1 exam, either multiple choice, maybe it's like 50 questions, or there are assessments where you have to write out your assignments and then someone reads it and grades it as either a pass or a fail. How many weeks did I spend on the schoolwork? I would say during my heaviest semester, probably 35 hours a week, where I did the 31 credit hours. On an average week when I was doing the 12 credit hours, probably about 15 hours, but I was running a nonprofit and 2 online businesses at the same time as I was doing the school, which is why I had to slow down. Which dovetails into our next point. Was the education actually useful? Yes. I was able to use that, apply those skills I got from WGU before I even graduated. A couple years before I even graduated, I was already applying those skills to the nonprofit. I was starting a couple new businesses. So the kind of stuff they teach you, if you already work a job, you can apply immediately and it will benefit you. So let's talk about some of the disadvantages. We talked about not being able to get the level of personal instruction if you're having difficulties. That's one. The other is prestige. I mean, a lot of people getting these degrees are doing it because they want to get a credential for their job, or they just want that mark on their record. A lot of jobs, they just want you to have a bachelor's degree, period, to even get your foot in the door. They won't consider you. WGU is recognized, but it's not, a UVA, University of Virginia type of school that has the same level of recognition. But you're trading flexibility and cost. I would not have gotten a bachelor's degree if it wasn't for having an online option due to distance. The other thing is networking. There is very little in the way of networking with WGU. Personal relationships. College isn't like it used to be 50 years ago, where if you went to a good school, you were part of an in club that would benefit you for the rest of your life. But I certainly think that having interactions with other human beings is very important to building interpersonal relationships and skills that will benefit you and connect you with jobs in the future. WGU, I know they have resources to connect you with employment, but it really isn't the same as going to a traditional university where they actually have direct connections to those employers. And there are professionals who have connections in those industries usually, or they had past connections when they were working in those industries. So you're trading that socialization aspect for more flexibility and lower cost, and I think you should keep that in mind. Me personally, I didn't care because I just wanted to get that credential. And if I go into my next point, which is a master's degree, I would want to get that at a traditional university or a much more prestigious online university like the Georgia Tech. I think it's a master. I can't remember the name. It's the Master's of Business and Analytics degree. Just that extra bit of challenge and that extra bit of prestige for the name. But ideally, I actually want to go to somewhere in person to build those personal connections. So if you're interested in WGU, I wouldn't overthink it. The cost is pretty low for a semester. So even if you don't care for it after a semester, you can always opt out, especially if you qualify for that full Pell Grant. So I hope that helped you out if you're trying to make a decision on whether or not to attend WGU. Definitely pursue educational opportunities because they do provide a broader perspective and a gateway for your future.